Shalom and welcome to Simchat Yisrael. This week's Parsha is Vayigash, and it's a happy ending to the eventful life of Joseph. After many long years, Joseph is reunited with his father when his whole family travels to Egypt, where Joseph has become a great leader. But before we get into the Parsha, I want to tell a quick story about a guy named Danny. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel down below. Danny is one of those people who always has a smile on his face. Whatever's happening, he always seems to be in a good mood. No matter what's going on, he has nice things to say about everyone. One day, Danny gets into a taxi cab. The cab driver's name is Frank. He does not usually have a smile on his face. Frank doesn't like his job. All day long, he sits in traffic and listens to stressed out people complaining about sitting in traffic. But one day, Danny gets into Frank's cab and starts talking with him. Now, Frank was in no mood to hold a conversation, but Danny was such a nice, pleasant person that Frank couldn't help it. By the end of the cab ride, Frank's mood had lifted, and he ended his shift feeling happy and relaxed. Frank went home and his wife Linda was surprised to see her husband in a good mood after work for the first time in years. Usually he was cranky and grouchy, but that night they had a really nice evening together. Linda went to work the next morning, still glowing from the night before. She was in such a good mood that nothing seemed to bother her. And Linda didn't fight or argue with any of her coworkers like she usually did. Her boss Randy usually went home with a migraine from listening to his employees complain. But it was such a peaceful day that evening he went home relaxed and in a pleasant mood. Because of his exhausting work schedule, Randy hadn't spoken to his son Chris in months, but he was feeling energized that night and decided to call him and take him out for coffee. That evening, as Randy is walking with his son, he sees tears streaming down the young man's face. Randy asks him what's wrong, and Chris hands him a note from his pocket. The note reads, "To whom it may concern, I killed myself tonight because no one in the world cares about me." Chris explained, "These last few months I felt so lonely and sad. It seemed like no one in the world cared about me anymore. Tonight I was going to end it all, but right as I was opening my window to jump, you called and said you would love to spend time with me." Danny will never know it, but he saved that young man's life when he walked into that cab with a smile. When you walk into a room with a smile, or when you say a kind word to someone, or just have a positive attitude, you never know how you may be changing the world, but you can know that you are changing it for the better, because joy is contagious. But the opposite is true as well. In this week's Parsha, we read how Joseph introduced his father to Pharaoh. When the king asks his age, Jacob replies, "Few and evil have been the years of my life." There's a fascinating Midrash that tells us that God was angry with Jacob's response and punished him by removing a year from the end of Jacob's life for every negative word he said about it. It wasn't that Jacob was wrong. He did have a hard life. But the rabbis teach that his sin was in broadcasting his misery. Because just as a positive attitude changes the world for the better, a negative attitude changes it for the worse. We share in each other's sorrows so that we can support and pray for one another. But when we walk around advertising our misery to the world, we are bringing the people around us down rather than lifting them up. So share your joys instead, because joy is contagious, and all it takes is one simple smile to make someone's day. Shalom, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. And don't forget to visit simchatyisrael.org to learn more.